So I know that those of you that could not attend in real time could review the information from the archives. Today I'm going to talk about SMART goals. Okay, SMART goals. All right, hold on one second here. Yeah, okay. Okay, this is just a little bit about me. I've been at AIU since January 2004, and I have my Bachelor of Science Management and Marketing from Indiana University, MBA from, it's in International Business from Portland State. I am a PMP, Project Management Professional, and I've been a manager with Coca-Cola USA, Johnson & Johnson, and Intel. And then I was also in a nonprofit. I was executive director of the Portland Food Drive. All right, so what are SMART goals? SMART is an acronym. An acronym is a word that is comprised of the letters of several other words. And in this case, it is the S for specific, the M for measurable, the A for attainable, the R for relevant, and the T for timely. So again, what are SMART goals? They are ways that we look for and identify clarity for attainment of objectives. So when we say specific, sometimes you're going to see a different word when you look up some of the information on this kind of method. You might see simple, sensible, significant, or specific. Measurable, you might see words like meaningful and motivating. Achievable, you might see something like agreed upon or attainable. The R for realistic could be relevant, reasonable, resourced, results-based. Time-bound. Time-bound means time limited. You might see something like time or cost limited, timely, or time sensitive. These are all types of guidelines that tell us that we need to look at creating our goals to be something that we can achieve. And we're going to go through a little bit of information on how to do that. Here's a nice little word cloud, they're called, word clouds. And it shows a little bit about what I've just been referring to. You see specific and motivational there, and meaningful, and some of those words that I brought up. But what we're really looking at is what might be described as tangible. And I'm going to type that word in, because that's essentially what we're saying. We're saying we can't just throw off something and identify that we have an objective, something that we want to complete, if we really don't understand what all's involved, and if it's not even possible to do that. You know, like I want to study all the stars in all the solar systems, and I want to do that before the next 5 years are over. So something to that type of an expression may not be something that can be achieved. And if so, by identifying a claim or a type of a goal that is not achievable, it not only cannot be completed within even a specific period of time or no period of time, but it can be frustrating to just say casually, I want to accomplish this, and it may not be attainable within that period of time. Okay, so I already said that it's an acronym, S.M.A.R.T, and we just call it SMART. And its criteria are commonly attributed to Peter Drucker. And if you're in business, you probably have heard of Peter Drucker. He is an exceptional theorist, writer, and management guru. He That's not a picture of him, but it's kind of a cute caricature. He is someone who has espoused different theories on organizational control and in management types of processes. In fact, he was the one individual who created the theory about management by objectives. And then that was in 1954, where he started thinking about what are the best ways to guarantee that if you have a goal, you'll be able to complete it. And again, he started this whole idea with making sure that your goals are measurable, okay, making sure that they meet those other types of requirements that I mentioned earlier. The next person that added more information to the subject is George T. Moran, and he presented his theories and provided a little bit more detail on refining this type of method in 1981 in the issue of Management Review. George T. Moran. And then the latest individual to really offer this practical method for achieving goals was Robert S. Rubin from St. Louis University. And he wrote about the SMART method in an article for the Society for Industrial and Organizational Psychology. He also is the individual who is proposing that instead of SMART, we should look at the method being called the SMARTer method. And in that case, the E and the R could stand for evaluated and revised. So again, you have specific, measurable, achievable. What did I say the R was? Oh yeah, relevant, and then time bound, and then evaluated and reviewed. All right, here are. I love this when I saw this picture. I thought that's really a picture of me, you guys. when I'm not having a very good day, I'm especially proud of those elbows. All right. Well, what it is this is a picture of frustration. Some goals are like this. You know, you say, "Well, I'm going to get this done. I don't care how long it takes me," and you don't get it done. And so it not only is a representation, really, of the fact that you're not able to complete what you have maybe honestly stated you want to complete, but it also, this type of experience seeps into what your attitude will be when you make other goals. Because you think, well, I never got that done. Oh my gosh, I've still got those 3 or 4 projects. I'm still working on those things. I can't seem to get those done. And then you feel like you don't have confidence, and you certainly don't have any hope in making some new plans. So you have to learn how to create them. So, but some goals, again, are not achievable. They're frustrating. They're not measurable, and they're not time bound. All right, so let's look at, well, let's go back. Let's first, let me finish up one other thing that I wanted to mention. Um, Kind of just looking at what it is that, when we uh, say, I'm going to create a statement that gives me all of the requirements in it, how can we actually get that done? So it isn't by tearing our hair out, and it isn't by just saying something in a casual way. It's examining what are the criteria in order to get that goal done. Do we have the resources necessary to do it? And do we have the time that we're willing to commit to get that completed? Okay, so goals can be any objective, really, that you set for yourself if you push yourself to achieve it. But it may be small. Like maybe you're going to say something like, as an example, I'm going to wake up an hour earlier than I normally do. It may be big. Maybe it's going to be something like earning a promotion. Maybe it's going to be something that's going to be beneficial for you, for your career, perhaps. Sometimes, however, there are drawbacks. Sometimes they're not achievable. Although inspirational, they can lead to frustration and disappointment, right? And some goals may not be measurable, so you don't know if you're making any progress. Some goals are not time bound, so they're not achieved, but they're also not abandoned. So it's something like you say, yeah, eventually I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to lose that 20 pounds. And 20 years later, you're still saying, I'm going to lose that 20 pounds plus the extra 10 I put on. So we have to be careful that we do put our goals within a time bound measurement. Okay, goal setting theory. So setting goals leads to a clarity. All right, goals need to be clear and understood very easily in order for them to be most effective. You don't want to get to a position where you're confused, that you write yourself some notes and you say, I don't even know what I meant by that. Well, how am I supposed to get that done by April? I'm going on that trip at the end of March. I'm not going to be able to finish cleaning my room out, doing the spring cleaning, getting everything done. I won't even be around. So you look and you say, okay, the is the structure, are the tenets for the structure really reasonable? Okay, they have a challenge, right? The principles have a challenge. Good goals have a high enough level of difficulty that you actually have to push yourself in order to achieve them. So it won't be a matter of you just saying, I'm just going to get to the store tomorrow. That's not quite a goal or an objective of the type we're talking about. We're talking about something that's going to require some focus, some planning, and some determination. Commitment. Without a high level of commitment, it's difficult to achieve any goal, especially those that are somewhat challenging. Feedback. You need to be able to receive information about how well you're progressing toward your goal. This information can be used as a motivator, or it may signal that your goal is either too easy or too challenging and needs to be adjusted. And then tax complexity. The more complex a goal is, the more time you need to give yourself to achieve it, especially if there are certain types of dependencies. If there are sub goals that require that you get one thing done before you start the other, all right? So, a kind of a physical conditioning plan is going to be similar, where you say, I'm going to lose this 20 pounds. I'm going to be in shape to run the marathon, and I'm going to have that done in about a month. Well, if you haven't been exercising, you haven't been really training yourself toughening yourself up and getting yourself into shape, you won't be able to do that. So maybe your first step is to start walking and then see whether you're in good enough shape to start running. You can't just expect to be doing that overnight. So again, those might be something. Those might be some examples of how you look at a more complex goal. Researcher Edwin Locke was instrumental in proving goal setting theory to be true, and then these 5 principles were considered effective goal setting aspects to the theories. Okay, again, look for with best practices that you are sure that your goal is specific, clear, and specific. Let's look at an example. Does it answer these questions? What do I want to accomplish? Why is this goal important? This is an extremely very critical step. Determining why you want to complete or meet the objective or the goal. This is a lot of what's going to entail being your intrinsic motivation. And intrinsic meaning internal. So what you're saying is, I want to know why it's important to me. Okay, maybe for me, it's a matter of I'm going to walk that 5 miles in a little over an hour. Right now, it's taking me almost an hour and a half. Maybe you can't do that, all right? So you need to look at that and say, well, I can cut down my hour and a half to an hour and 15 minutes. That's important to me. It's not going to win me any races. It's not going to be something that I can brag about to my friends. It's going to be something that's going to make me feel good because I'll be able to see and actually measure how much better my health is getting if I can walk faster, accomplish that, and feel good about that for myself. Determine who's involved. Where is the goal located? Where specifically are you going to be working on the goal? And then which resources or limits are involved? Those are like your W questions: who, what, why, where, how, things like that. So another example might be that you're currently a marketing executive and you'd like to become head of marketing. A specific goal could be, I want to gain the skills and experience necessary to become the head of marketing. A specific goal could be, I want to gain the skills and experience necessary to become the head of marketing within X corporation. Okay, so I can build my career and lead a successful team. M for measurable. It's important to have measurable goals. We talked about this. So you can track your progress and stay motivated. Addressing progress helps you stay focused, helps you meet your deadlines, and feel the excitement of getting closer to achieving your goal. A measurable goal should address questions such as, how much, how many, how will I know when it's accomplished? Let's look at an example. You might measure your goal of acquiring the skills to become head of marketing by determining that you will have completed the necessary training courses and gained the relevant experience within 5 years of time. Is that reasonable? Look at what's possible for your industry and determine if it is. A, be sure it's achievable. All right? So your goal also needs to be realistic and attainable to be successful. So in other words, it should have the list of abilities, but still remain possible. So you want to train or work towards being better skilled, but it still needs to be within your ability to do that. So in other words, if you don't go to school for a PhD, it's unlikely you'll be able to get a PhD, right? So maybe you don't even have your high school education yet. That doesn't mean that you can't say I'll set a goal or a long-term, just a goal for the PhD, but right now I want to complete my high school or undergrad. So when you set an achievable goal, you may be able to identify any overlooked opportunities or resources that can bring you closer to it. An achievable goal will usually answer questions such as, how can I accomplish this goal? And how realistic is the goal based on other constraints, perhaps some such as financial factors? So you might need to ask yourself whether developing the skills required to become head of marketing is realistic based on your existing experience, qualifications, and your education. So you might want to think about that and see, do you have the time right now to complete the required training effectively? Are the necessary resources available for you to do it? R, relevant. This step is about ensuring that your goal matters to you and that it also aligns with what it is you are trying to accomplish. It may need to align with other relevant goals. If you're in the middle of meeting other goals that require resources such as finances, you may not be able to add another one. Maybe you don't have the time to work on another one, which may require, let's say, that you go to school, right? You may not have the ability to build a business or to do other things at that same time. We all need support and assistance in achieving our goals, but it's important to ensure that we retain control over them. So make sure your plans drive everyone forward and that you're still responsible for achieving your own goals. A relevant goal can answer yes to these questions. Does this seem worthwhile? Is this the right time? Does this match our other efforts and needs? Am I the right person to reach this goal? Is it applicable in the current socio-economic environment? For example, you might want to gain the skills to become head of marketing within your own organization. But is it the right time to undertake the required training or work towards additional qualifications? Are you sure you're the right person for the head of marketing role? Have you considered your spouse's goals? For example, if you want to start a family, would completing training in your free time make this more difficult? And T, time bound. Every goal needs a target date so that you have a deadline to focus on and so that you have something to work toward. This part of the SMART goal criteria helps to prevent everyday tasks from taking priority over your longer term goals. A time goal will usually answer these questions. When? What can I do 6 months from now? What can I do 6 weeks from now? And what can I do today? Gaining the skills to become head of marketing, that may require that you take on additional training. Maybe you need more experience. How long will it take you to acquire these skills? Do you need further training so that you're eligible for certain exams or qualifications? It's important to give yourself a realistic time frame for accomplishing the smaller goals that are necessary to achieving your final objective. All right, now we're going to look at what are some best practices that you can use so that you're more likely to complete your goal. Once you've planned them out, once you've answered those questions, once you've looked at those requirements or those criteria, what do you do next? SMART goals may be more beneficial than the average goal, but setting up a SMART goal is still only half the battle. Now you have to achieve it. So this, of course, is the aspect of goal setting that people have the most trouble with. But if you're serious about seeing your goals through to completion, then I suggest you do these 3 things. Create an action plan. Okay? Every SMART goal needs a SMART action plan to go along with it. This action plan focuses on how you can go about achieving your goal through things such as setting milestones, through things such as highlighting potential pitfalls. Those could keep you from reaching those milestones. Deciding what actions you need to take to reach them, and deciding on a schedule you want to stick to. So create an action plan, set your milestones, and use a journal. You can stay focused with a journal. Not only writing down your thoughts, progress, and more in a journal can help keep you focused on your goal, it will also serve as a reminder of why you need to stay motivated. You can put some of your own determinations, your own motivations in the journal and review them every so often. Because you might get frustrated and you might say, oh, this is just taking too long. I don't want to see this through. And then you look back and you go, oh, that's right. If I did that, then we could get that other house, or we could move to this other school district for the kids, or, whatever it was that you had decided earlier to be one of the reasons why you wanted to accomplish this goal, may be something you need to be reminded of occasionally. Following through on the SMART goals will always be more challenging than setting them, but if you remain dedicated and follow a well thought out strategy, then you can certainly achieve each and every goal that you set. All right, well, I thank you for your time and attention, and let me know. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions of any kind. I always say, oops, let's see, let me finish typing my address in here. There we go. I always say that I may not know all the answers, but I will do my best to find a resource or an expert that will provide those answers for you. So I hope you have a very good rest of the day. And by the way, I hope you have a wonderful week off. When the university takes a week off here next week, and come back for week 5. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a presentation on mathematics. I'm going to be presenting some simple formulas, equations, but then I'm going to be here to answer questions if you have any that you want to ask me directly. All right, thank you.